Alright folks, welcome back to the channel Techado. For returning subscribers, this is going to be an episode 9 of the whole COVID-19 series that I have started separately. For new subscribers, if you are looking for different sort of answers for COVID-19 as the journey progresses, as we go from month to month, this probably is one of the better videos that you should check out, because in this video I have made a list and I have prepared a whole list of high-risk individuals and COVID-19, which means that which are the individuals that are highest risk. Now, why I made this list myself, the reason behind is that neither CDC is coming up with any list, neither WHO is coming up with any list, not I see this list to be there at anywhere else, because it's very important for us to know which are the individuals that should are of highest risk. And it is not only people those who are above 65. There are a lot of individuals that are on highest risk, and this is the video for that. Let's begin this journey by talking about those high risk individuals, and we are also going to talk about how to take precautionary measures. You are also going to follow all the CDC guidelines, so this is not any sort of conspiracy channel or anything where I'm going to tell you that no, these guidelines are not followed or anything. Do not do that. Just simply follow guidelines that is given out by CDC, and you take some extra measures apart from that also. So let's begin. So in high-risk individual, in number 1 category, so I have kept the most priority kind of a category in the top, and I have divided that category into Cat 1A, 1B and 1C, which means that these are highest risk groups, and this group of individuals can be categorized further into 3 groups, and then there is Cat 2 and Cat 3. So in Cat 1 or category 1, at first and the most foremost people are the people those who are anti-vaxxers. You guys are probably because of whatever concept that you believe in, you guys are probably our number 1 risk for not only for yourself, for the whole society. So anti-vaxxers will be number 1. Number 2 is respiratory. So in respiratory diseases or diseases associated to respiratory, I have categorized them into people those who are more than 65, more than 55. Smokers, why? Because smokers suffers from a lot of lower tract respiratory tract infection rather than the upper respiratory tract infection, and this group also includes people those who are smokers, those who are marijuana users, those who are vapors, and this whole category falls into one category. So yes, in respiratory cause Cat 1A, these are very high groups. Then comes people those who are suffering from like chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases and chronic bronchitis, people those who are asthma. Now this is a very important question again, and this question is coming up a lot, that asthma and COVID-19, is there any correlation? See guys, the thing is that this is not a very usual disease, and that is the reason a lot of misinformation is going on. And yes, people those who are those who are asthmatic, they should be careful. And not only that, people those who are suffering from allergies, any sort of allergies. And if you are having an allergy, and I've written it down also, and if you're prone to allergy and you had respiratory distress attacks where you were not sufficient enough, you were gasping or anything, you could not take breath or anything, and you had 2 of these incidents for them within the coming 2 or 3 months, you should probably consider yourself as category 1A, and you should consult with your physician and get checked yourself for any sort of asthmatic changes in your lungs. For example, if you are getting any sort of changes in your pulmonary picture or not, to be very honest. Then comes another category of people we totally forgot, and I don't know why CDC is not making the list. The next category of people is people those who are suffering from tuberculosis or undergoing tuberculosis treatment, which is very important. A lot of people were undergoing treatment at that time when this spread. So people those who are undergoing treatment, they should be careful also. Why? Because not only the route is the same, but also the immunity is pretty low. So that's the reason they are at high risk. And also there is one more category of people, and this will be targeted specifically those people, those who are being diagnosed by any sort of lymphomas. So it can be Hodgkin, non-Hodgkin. So anything that is concerning your immunity, will be at a higher risk. You should go and watch the episode, which is vaccination and immunity. I've gone in depth on that episode if you want to know more about that. Then comes another group of individuals, very important group of individuals are people, those who are cotton wool workers, those who are working in the mill factory, jute factory, those who are working in steel plants, those who are working with polymer industry. Why am I considering these people? Because if you have been working more than 10 or 15 years and for some reason you are not following protocol, in US more or less everybody follows protocol, but if you are an audience who is watching this from outside, and if you are an employer and you have not given your employees sufficient amount of protective equipment, maybe this is the time to consider, because apart from they getting more prone to any sort of professional disease or occupational hazards that we call, this COVID-19 can become a co-infection to that. So that's a very, very important stuff that we actually did not consider in the very beginning. For kids who are underweight. Now underweight, what does that mean? That means that compared to age, there is a weight chart ratio. So if you know what is age to weight ratio, which I think probably you can get hand of in your country, because every country has their own guidelines. So if you got hold of your pediatrician, he or she can give you a age to weight kind of ratio. So you have to be very sure you're talking about that with your pediatrician and know what is your age to weight ratio, and you find out your kid to be malnutrition or not coming up at that par level, or there's a lot of kids that have a habit of eating, like dirt or anything. These kids are of highest risk right now. Not only that, what is the reason behind it? Why is malnutrition considered to be, like an correlation between a COVID-19 or anything? It is because of lower immunity again. So anybody who is suffering from lower immunity, I've categorized just this so that we can understand, and this is not like a like an official categorization or anything, because nobody's doing it. And what concerns me is that it's already been 3 months and nobody's categorizing. That's how we learn, like, to be very honest. But anyways, a group of people, those who underwent cardiovascular surgeries, those who went bypass surgeries, this is a very important category also. And in this Cat 1A also comes for all those documented or undocumented workers who are working in home, taking care of terminally ill patients. Next come pancreas. I have done this according to the system, but I have, so that I remember it the way I can talk. But in pancreas, this is not going to be any sort of pancreatic insufficiency or silly, but this is going to be diabetics. Diabetics, especially those who are insulin dependent diabetics, they are very, very prone to infection, and I cannot stress the importance of this whole category, which is, if you consider the amount of diabetics in the world right now, they're probably 20% to 30% of this whole planet is at risk. That is high amount of diabetics we have in our society, and this is a whole group of people. So the next very important thing is people those who are suffering from Crohn's disease or tubercular ulcerative colitis, they take a lot of immunosuppressants. So if you're taking an immunosuppressant, do one thing right now: make sure you call up your family physician and let know that if you are going to work or you are heading over to work, should you stop your immunosuppressants or not. But don't do it before consulting it. Consult with your physicians about your immunosuppressants. So very important stuff. We totally forgot about a big group of population in the Northern Europe or Russia is Hep B and Hep C. Northern Europe or Russia has a very high patients of tuberculosis, and they also have very high amount of patients of hepatitis B and C. If you are a Hep B and a Hep C patients, if you are taking transfusions and everything, and a person already knows who is Hep B and who is Hep C, like who is hepatitis, who's suffering from hepatitis, make sure you consult with your physicians and check your blood counts, because your immunity is low, you are at highest risk. So any person who is having hepatitis B or C is currently at highest risk. And then this, I should not place this category in high risk, but I am going to place this category into high risk is people, those who are chronic alcoholics. Chronic alcoholics tend towards to move from fatty liver to liver cirrhosis, which means that the liver shrinks and slowly the functions of the liver actually depletes. Next people, sort of people with the kidney diseases are going to be people those who are suffering from chronic renal failure, diabetics, and people those who are undergoing dialysis. So if suppose somebody of your family or your family member is undergoing dialysis like every week or so, make sure you're taking these measures. It's very important. These are the highest risk people, and these are individuals are totally forgotten, I think so, for some reason. 1B, this is also a high risk category, but I've separated this category as higher but not that high kind of a risk. Is going to be post-surgical patients, those who are using broad spectrum antibiotics. Mental disorder, what? Yep, H3R blockers are or histamine 3 blockers are used widely in schizophrenic patients. So I would recommend the relative of that sort of patients who have family members who are suffering from schizophrenia, go ahead and have a word with your local physician and ask them whether, according to your zone, is your family member at any sort of risk or not. Then comes duodenal ulcers and throat infection. Very, very important, guys. Very important to know that ulcers and throat infections are at highest risk also. 1C is a very high risk thing also, but this is more for people those who are not maintaining hygiene and people those who are having multiple partners. So if you are that kind of a person, you are also at higher risk. Cat 2, in category 2 is going to be BCG vaccines, those who are non-vaccinated for BCG. So for example, people those who are from Spain, because I think recent Spanish populations, they do not have BCG in their guidelines. I don't know why. Immigration and passport control employees, security check TSA employees, retail employees, very important, restaurants and servers of pubs, sewage, rag pickers, people from waste management, protection department, and local police and courts. Church, mosque, temple gatherings which are inside a location, they are also at very, very high risk. Moderate risk, sorry. And anemia and anemic population thing, we can also consider in this category, we can also consider inmates and prison mates. Then in this category, I've also told about type A personality disorders like ambitious person, because again, there is a very important relation of stress to COVID-19. So anybody who is having a type A personality disorder, for example, who undergoes a stress a lot, they should be careful about COVID-19 also, or coronavirus also. Cat 3. Cat 3 is probably the lowest risk people. These are self-employed people, those who work from home kind of people, and these are healthy individuals, who thinks them to be invincible. These are Cat 3 people. Well, now we are going to jump into quickly about what to do when you are in these sort of categories, if you understand which sort of category you fall into. So this is the recommendation for Cat 1.